Where we leave off at the top of Samachayim and Aleph, right? So we're discussing the sugya of going back to the bottom of the base. Won't start there. We're talking about a katana. If a katana or a katan has das to be kaina, das to be makna, right? So we said that we had a kasha from the case of making an eruv that a guy could be mizaka his kid, the eruv, through his daughter, right? Through an Amma Evriya, really. And we said, what's the case? And then we said, no, that's a Rabbanon. So since it's a Rabbanon, therefore you're allowed to, a katana can make kunyana, right? So we said, we asked the kasha, the Gemara asked the kasha that, I'm sorry, the Gemara, that was the Gemara's kashas, and the Gemara's teretz was that it was, it's a Rabbanon, right? Then the Gemara says, anything that the Rabbanon did, they styled it after the Raisa. So if the Rabbanon said to make an Erev Chatzeros and Shabbos, so therefore they should have to make it, they should require it to be the same way as any other thing, and therefore a cotton shouldn't work. So we said no, and this is an interesting thing. Erev is the Rabbanon from scratch, right? Meaning many Rabbanons are a takana because you might come to do an Issa Deraisa. For example, why would not allowed to eat chicken in the 9 days? Because the Chachamim said chicken is the same as meat, right? Again, that's obviously not an Issa Deraisa to eat meat in the 9 days, but it's an Issa Deraisa to eat meat and milk, and the Chacham extended it to chicken. So that's the Rabbanon that's built in a Deraisa. So there, they're going to make their takana kain the Deraisa, but at the Rabbanon that they made up totally on their own. What do you say?
Well, so finish what you say. Maybe using this.
Saying at the Rabbanon that they totally make up on their own, that they don't have to style after their right, so that they can make up whatever they want. So an eruv chatzeros is totally made up the Rabbanon. It's not based on the deraisa. The Chachamim decided that you need to make eruv chatzeros, so therefore you're allowed to do that. What's the
time is Tisha B'Av. So that's obviously the Rabbanon.
Right. That one, the Gerada, is a good question because they styled it after Yom Kippur, though.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, but you're right. But it's totally made up of the Rabbanon.
It's Yaakov. I don't understand the idea of eruvim is according to some shitas of deraisa, and the idea that you can't carry is deraisa. So what does that mean? It's just completely made up out of thin air. There are these concepts that exist on a deraistic level as well. Where do you draw the line when it comes to saying something is just made up out of thin air and it's not kain deraisa? The idea that you can have have eruve chatzeros or eruvin in general, we know is deraisa.
No, but the whole point of putting the chal into what do you call it?
That's not din derabanan. If you hold tchum is deraisa, that's a din deraisa.
No, but this is not a tchum.
I'm just saying this concept. I understand, but the concept that you have eruvin is not a din is not a concept in derabanan, or the concept you can't bring into other rishuyos, and therefore you have to create a concept of shtupim muvah. It's not a foreign concept. You can't take from rishus. I understand you can't take from rishus. You can't take into rishus or that's a din deraisa. So this is not the same exact thing, but there is. It
is because this is rishus hayachid here. This is rishus hayachid. There's no issue to carry rishus hayachid.
Correct, but every rishus. One second, they're together. That's a din derabanan. The runner wants to create a gather. The runner where guys are atu is something that's midaraisa you can't carry in. How's that not ke'ain? That's the whole point of a gather, no? Where do you say something's made up in a thin air? And where do you say something is just, not at all connected to the deraisa, the isur?
Right. So there was one today that I thought about that's totally made up.
But why else wouldn't they? Would they be geyser in such a case?
I'm not thinking what's. I thought about it this afternoon. What's the case of the Rabbanon straight? Straight the Rabbanon. Muksa. Muksa is a straight the Rabbanon.
But it was a gather, no?
No,
There's
no.
no
Muksa
Gedar?
was, except according to the Rambam, holds that it's Muksa because maybe you'll carry. Everybody else says Muksa so that it should make Shabbos look like more chashuv. Right? Right, so that's one that's from scratch. Right? Anyways, okay, so whatever. But that's what the Gemara had said. That's an hour up to Masir of Avia, 4 lines down. The Gemara just has a repeat of yesterday's kasha, just on a different subject. By Masir of Avia, Marimin al Ma'aser Sheni. You're allowed to do a haram on Ma'aser Sheni. So we know Ma'aser Sheni is that let's go. What years is it? First, second.
What plot?
We're on Samachayim at Allah, 4 lines down. During the first, second, fourth, fifth years of the Shemitah, right? You have to take Ma'aser Sheni. Ma'aser Sheni is you have to take it up to Yerushalayim and eat it there. If you don't want to bring it to Yerushalayim, or you can't because it's too hard to bring all your fruit, so what you do is you're paid it. Right? You paid the fruit. What do? You take all the fruit and you put it onto a coin. And you bring it to Yerushalayim. If you're paid to somebody else's fruit, meaning if I go over to my friend and say, "Hey, I'll buy your fruit off you, and then I'll bring it to Yerushalayim," right? So then you don't have to pay any sort of knas, right? But the friend doesn't have to pay a knas. But if you pay to your own fruit, you have to pay a fifth more, right? So the Gemara is saying that there's a way to do a scam where you don't have to pay your own fifth. Meaning, if you pay to your own fruit, then there was a knas. I know it's called a knas, but you have to pay a fifth more. So here the Gemara is telling you here's a way to save the fifth, right? If you ever one of these Gemaras where you want to know where the Yidden get it, that they could always find legal loopholes, save a few bucks. This is one of them. So and the Gemara even calls it that harama. Mariman on Ma'aser Sheni. You can make a haram on Ma'aser Sheni. How are you going to do it? Meaning again, you want to be paid to your own Ma'aser Sheni and save 20%. How? Because again, if you pay to your own, you have to add 20%. So here you're trying to avoid that fee. Okay, you can tell his children, or to his slaves that are Jewish. He says, here's money. Give him 100. Let's say he has $100 worth of fruit. He gives them $100, and he says, "Now I gave you $100 a present. Now be paid my Ma'aser Sheni from me." Right? And then you could eat it without chaimish. Right? So that's a legal loophole. Okay. So high shippo, right? So that's the scam. So we're saying again, high shippo. What's the case of shippo? Either asi base Cyrus, if he has base Cyrus. I'm sorry, she. Thank you. Idasi base Cyrus. If she already has 2 hands, then she's already an adult. My boy kape. She's an adult, and she shouldn't be a.
What happens
slave.
after she's tied to the fruit? What happens?
She gets the fruit. The fruit goes out to Chulin, and the money becomes Kaddish. Now he has to take that money up to Yerushalayim and buy food there.
They have to give him back the money.
What do you mean?
Well, he gave the money to the kid, right? So that means the kid has a yad l'kabel, right? So now he's taking the money now he's taking the money that the kid had.
He gave his daughter the money.
Let's call the daughter. He gave his daughter the money.
Okay,
He gave her the money, then she gave it back to him. That's what happened. Well, I don't understand what is the basic case?
He gave his daughter $100.
Right.
She went and she gave it back to him, and
for the Ma'aser Sheni. She bought the Ma'aser Sheni from him.
Correct. Now the money, the kedusha that was under Ma'aser Sheni went onto the money. So now he's got $100. that have kedusha ma'aser sheni, he's got to take it up to Yerushalayim, right? And the fruits went out. So this was an easy way for him to not have to pay the 20% extra, right? So now the Gemara is saying, so what's the case of Shifra? Can't be that she had Beis Cyrus, then she should be free. Ella Lav, the Loyas of Beis Cyrus must be told, well, she doesn't have Beis Cyrus. That means she's a katana. And you see that she was able to be kind and makna. She was able to be kind of something, right? And she was kind on behalf of other people. So Gemara says, oh, we're talking about Maisa nowadays, which is the okay. So Gemara says, if you talk about Bizman Hazeh, there's no such thing as having a female slave that's less than 12 years old. Anybody ever hear of anybody having a slave less than 12 years old? Bizman Hazeh? I hope not.
There's no Ma'aser Sheni Bizman Hazeh. So what's it talking about?
Well, there really is. There is Midrabanan, but in Eretz Yisrael, there is. That's what they do with the Pruta Chamuras and all that type of stuff, right? We're talking about in Eretz Yisrael, Bizman Hazeh, Midrabanan, yeah, right. So the Gemara says talking about Ma'aser Bizman Hazeh Midrabanan. Okay, but Omavriya Bizman Hazeh then doesn't exist. Tanya ain't ever every noyeg el Bizman Yovel. Only when there's yovel, and we know that there's no yovel nowadays, right? Hello, so the Gemara answers, but what are we talking about? We're talking about a flower pot that has no hole in it, which we know a flower pot that doesn't have a hole in it is chayiv in chumas and maisris and all that type of thing with the rabbanon. So since it's only a derabanan, therefore they can take off maisa. The cotton can do it. So basically, what the Gemara is saying is, for the rabbanans, it works, right? Which again, just to reiterate what we discussed yesterday, that's
what we're talking about. One farmer that has one pot that has an orange growing in it. That's the whole Gemara.
Yeah, that's the whole Gemara. You're right. It's the whole Gemara. Yeah. Now, what comes out from this whole thing, right, is that in the Rabbanans, we let a cotton be kind of makna, not the Raisas, which is why you have that issue with the first day Sukkos. Again, not this year. First day Sukkos, you need lochem. So how do you go give the lulav and esrog to your child? And then for the second day, you also need lochem and chutz laretz, even though that's really a Rabbanan. So the question is, it's a suffix deraisa, maybe. That's the way the Mishnah says it. How are you getting it back from the kid? Right?
Hey, we do a Rama all the time. We'll do another Rama with the kid.
Oh, it's an interesting. That's Rabban. I know in the old days that's not the way it was with Reb Shlomo, but that's why Shulchan Aruch says each kid should have their own lulav and esrog. Right? That's the Fruma's taina. Why they give each kid their own lulav and esrog is because of this taina. How do you give it back and forth? After the second day, it's not a problem anymore because you don't need lachem. What?
Yaakov, this is not getting the Raisa though by Meister Sheni.
I guess our kids were smarter than your kids. That's all.
I guess so. They were able to be kind and makna. That could very well be. Yeah. But Akiva, that's not negated to this. I don't think.
Why not? The Gemara had to say. The Gemara said you could only say midirabanan as a terrorist if it's not kain deraisa, if it's a completely foreign concept. The Gemara wants to shock what I before. The Gemara says, "Oh, it's midirabanan." The Gemara says, "But that's not good enough. If it's kain deraisa, you still have a problem because you only masakin in kain deraisa. So it must be the concept exists midiraisa." It's the exact same problem the Gemara went through earlier. Why is this any different in the Gemara's terrorist?
No, because there we were just trying to justify why they didn't make the takana that way, the same way, right? This is not really a takana. I think so, right? That's a little different.
Why? She's able to make a kinyan. How is she able to make a kinyan on something kain deraisa?
No, because that's not a takana,
right?
No, the Gemara was asking.
Obviously, she's making a real kinyan here. Otherwise, what was the Gemara's question?
Of course. But there we're talking about when we asked the kasha from Eruv, On kinyanim, so we said Erev is a total made up Rabbanah. That's all.
And therefore, it's not a raya. But if it's Kain Daraisa, it would be. If the Kenyan is in an Indian of Kain Daraisa, it would be a raya.
Correct.
So, but over here, when you're claiming it from Hektish or from Meister Sheni, how is that not a Kain Daraisa that you're being kaina? Similar to any other Meister Sheni Daraisa. How are they being misaken that she's able to be kaina something if it's not Kain Daraisa?
I hear. I thought that's not what this is talking about here, but okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure. You want to say that this is Kain Deraisa, so therefore, yeah, I hear. Yeah, I don't know. Not sure. Okay, so let's see weiter. Tamar Rabba, Gimel Midas the cotton. Now, then this is the Maskana Satvarim. There's 3 different measurements by cotton. Srar v'zarka, which we had yesterday. If the cotton is smart enough to take a rock and throw it away, Ego is v'noitlei, or not, and keeps it, meaning so they know how to differentiate between what's something that's worth something and something that's not. Zoichel atma vein zoichel acherim. Right? Can that person, the cotton that knows that amount, has that amount of knowledge, can be zoichel for themselves, can't be zoichel for others. Who connect them to katana, and the same thing would be via katana. Miskadeshes lemiyun, she could be miskadeshes for miyun. We haven't had that in a while, right? Meaning when her father dies, there was misakin that the brother and the mother can marry her off, but she could just walk out if she wants, right? So that's since the Rabbanon, that'll work. So if Mamela, she would be old enough, if she knows how to differentiate between a rock and a nut, then she could just walk out of the marriage. Pa'utais, the second level is pa'utais. So pa'utais is young kids, right? Mekran mekach umemkaran memkar v'metaltalin. They could buy things, they could sell things, but only by movable property. Not property, I'm sorry, just by movable items, not by property. Ukenegdan b'katana, and then by a katana, what would be miskareshes b'kedushi aviyah, she can be divorced from her father, meaning if her father married her off, she could decide on her own to get divorced without her father being involved. When they get to the age of Nidarim, the name Neder, Vektation Hektish, then if they make a Neder, it's a Neder. If they make something Hektish, it's Hektish, or connect them to Katana, and the same amount of Katana, Chayletzes, she could get Alitza, and because that's already an older age, right? But to sell the belongings of the father, which Rashi says means karkois, ben esrim, then that you can't do until you're 20 years old. Which is a very interesting thing. The kid's a gadol, right? It's a good riddle to ask. When is somebody not considered a gadol? Till they're 20, right? So everybody's going to first say unshim, right? Nobody, a 20-year-old doesn't get unshim. I mean, only until they're 20, they don't get unshim. But here, saying it to sell off the father's belongings is up until 20. Right? Fine. Okay, so those are the 3 levels of Katan and Kinyanim. Fine. Back to Gittin. Sag the Mishnah. Katanim Sha'amra. Katana Sha'amra Hiskabali Giti. If Katana said to a Shliach, go get my get. Ta'ena get that Shigia get liyada. It's not a get until the get actually gets to her hand. Right? Now, what's the pshat? Why is it not a get? Meaning, she sent the shliach to take her get. We learned that a woman could send the shliach to take a get and it's fine. But here by a katana, it doesn't work. Why? Because a katana can't make a shliach. Right? Okay, so that's the question. So why is it a get? Right?
Why can't she make a shliach? We just said a second ago that they can sell movable, they can sell metaltalin and stuff. So now they can't be a shliach?
I guess women are just like Karka.
They can't make a shliach. It seems like, well, we don't know what age. I'm not sure what age this is. What age is this talking about? What age katana? What did we say previously? I don't think we gave an age.
We said that that's a katana.
No, but David's asking, why is it if she could do buying and selling, so then why can't she
I
make
mean,
a
in
shliach
the
to take a
Gemara,
get?
in the footnote, it says it says here in the article, it says that before by metaltalin, it's a young children from 6 to 8. So now you're talking to me that they're less than 6 to 8. This katana that we're talking about is younger than 6 years old.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean that's what you have to say. Unless I'm trying to remember. A few days
I mean,
ago,
I don't know if
did we say it
shliach has
didn't
anything
share?
to do with metaltalin, so they can't be shlichim.
Why didn't Shlichim
I
have
was
to
saying
do?
if we
No,
translate
I'm
to
saying, I
our
don't
age,
know.
that's less than 36 years old.
That's true, Naftali.
Right.
What? What'd you say?
He's saying nowadays with the higil chinuch, it would be in the 30s nowadays, 6 to 8 year old. But I don't know. I'm not sure what age this would be. Right?
Does the Rabbi Art Scroll give a makor for the 6 to 8?
Yeah, that we had before, didn't we?
Yeah, it was in the Mishnah on Mem Test. He says it's Rashi from by Mem on Mem Testament
I think we said different ages before, right? We said, right? You remember they all showed each other. One said 6 to 7, one said 7 to 8, right? And one said 9 to 10. Then we said they weren't really arguing. It's all totally in the maturity of the kid. Remember that was what the Gemara said, right? But that was talking about. That was Pu'utas. Yeah. Okay, I don't know. I would assume it's that youngest age. But anyways, so she says it. So we're saying, why is it a good get? So the answer is, we said before in the Gemara, the reason why it's a good get is because the husband knows this, and yet he decided to give the get anyway. So what his kavanah was is whichever way halach this get's going to work, so it works. So again, so Kashana Shomer is Kabbalah Giti, and again, actually get the other. It has to reach her hand. The Fika Chemratza Ba'ala. So Yasser, since the shliach is not her shliach, so therefore, you could be chayzer. The husband could be chayzer, right? She'ein katan ha'isa shliach, because a katan can't make a shliach, right? I think it's a special din in shlichus, David. The question is why that is. Looking at Rashi and Bamitzia. Meaning that it's just because the pasuk that we learned shlichus out from Truma is referring to a gadol, not a katan. So maybe it's just like a technical reason. Right? It's ve'im amar lo yavia, but if the father said, "Save his kabbalah biti to go be makabbalah get for my daughter," and ratzalasa, if you want to go back, lo yasa, you can't go back, right? Because there it's legitimate. The father can make a shliach because he's allowed to accept the get. He's allowed to make a shliach for his daughter. Fine. However, 10 gets ishti b'makam ploni. Let's say a guy tells a shliach, give this get to my wife in a town. And he gives it to her in a different city. It's puzzle. Because again, the shliach didn't listen to the parameters. The guy told him, give her the get in New York. And he meets her at a chasana in Lakewood. So he says, yeah, by the way, here's your get. Now I don't have to schlep it. No, it doesn't work.
Does he have to have? Is this a bittul on the shlichus or is it not?
Is it a bittul in the shlichus? Sounds like it.
Meaning it's not an actual tanai though. In the get.
No, I don't know. It's not. I can't make a tonight again. No, it's not. Somebody discusses that. I don't know who, right? It's not a tonight again.
Because then it would have to be a tanai couple. I mean, there'd be a lot of dinner.
Right.
It's saying it's just a bittul in the shlichus.
Yeah, I forgot who discusses that. But anyways, yeah. So Harei, but if the man is saying it, Harei b'makam ploni v'nasnul b'makam achad kosher. But if he says she's in this town, go there. And then he goes there and she's not, and he gives to somebody else. Maybe not to somebody else. He gives it to her, but in a different town, then it's kosher. Why? So the difference between the two is the first one, he said, give it to her in this town. The second one is that he said to her, she's in this town. Fine. Isha, that's that second case. Third case. So Isha Shamra, now it's from the woman's side. The woman said, his Gittin b'ma complaining. Tells the Shliach, go get my get in this certain place. The Kibulu love makam acher, and she's makabel in a different place. Puzzle. I mean, he's makabel for her in a different place. Puzzle, it's puzzle. Right? Because she said, I only want you to accept the get in this town. Rabbi Elazar says that it's kosher. Right? Right? Now, we'll see in the Gemara why he says, because he doesn't argue in the first case. Right? How come Rabbi Elazar allows this get when the guy didn't listen to the one who sent him? And in the first case, when the husband sent and the guy didn't listen, there Rabbi Elazar agrees that the get is possible.
Why are we using a Lashon puzzle over here? And the document itself is not puzzle. It's just she's not misgareshes. If they would turn around and go back to the right town, and then it wouldn't be puzzle. If she would be misgarish. So puzzle is saying there's a pagam in the ksiva. But it's not. It's a pagam in the
Rachel, you're right. You're right. But the Seifrim union put it in so they could sell more Gittin. That's the only from the Seifrim union.
Goes got follow the bucks, follow the money.
That's right.
It's all the Benjamins. Right?
Yeah, they're striking right now.
No, so you're right about the Lashon. It's a good time on the Lashon. Yeah.
What should he say? What do you want it to say instead?
He's saying there's nothing intrinsically wrong with this get. It just is not.
No, the
doesn't work.
shlichus is
It
wrong.
doesn't
The
work.
shlichus is wrong.
It doesn't work. But the get is a get.
The Lashon should
One
say
second.
Miss Aina Misgareshes.
One
She's
second.
not.
So what's happening? So if he gives back, he says, "Oh, it's the wrong town. Let me take back the get. I'll give it to you again. Let's move. Let's go. Let's take a bus now to the next town, whatever, and then I'll give it to you. Is it kosher now or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be kosher. Why shouldn't it be kosher?
I don't know. We have to see. We have to see the Gemara in the next Mishnah. We'll see.
Well,
the
doesn't
Gemara
the
in
get
next
have to be
Mishnah.
written lishma for the place that it's going to be given?
It was written.
No, it
in
has
this
to-
law.
It was
It
not,
wasn't-
it's a small in the place that it was written, not given.
Right. It has to be though. You need his town, her town. But you don't.
The get is nothing. The get he wrote, it's a shlichus that he's making. He's makbid on. The get is written l'shma wherever it's being given. The shlichus is what he's being makbid on. He could have given the get himself to her in his house, and it would have been a good get. It's a shlichus that's a problem. So the question still stands.
So you're saying that the get would be a good get.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's wait till after the next mission and see. Either way, Rabbi Eliezer agrees here, well, he disagrees here that it's kosher, right? So Havi the Gita, the last case is Havi the Giti mimakam plani. Bring me my get from this place with you mimakam acher, and you bring it from a different place kosher, then it's kosher, right? Because there's no shaykhs to the woman. I'm sorry, it's only the man. Right? Meaning what is she saying to the guy? Bring me a get mimakam plani, right? And basically what she's saying is go to my husband and tell him to send me the get. What you're saying doesn't work. We're saying that's not her right. Okay, so the Gemara asks, Rabbi Elazar, Maishno Reisha the like Polig, Maishno say with the Polig. How come in the Reisha, Rabbi Elazar says that the get is not a good get if the shliach doesn't listen to the husband, gives it to her in the wrong town. And Maishna Sefer the Pulling, how come in the Sefer he does disagree, and he says that if the wife says it that she wants to get in a certain town and she gets in a different town, then he says it's no big deal. Who cares, right? So Gemara answers, the man, there's no such thing as forcing a man to divorce a woman. When he's divorcing a woman, he's doing it on his own. So Mela is he's calling the shots. So he said, I wanted the get to be given in this town. If it wasn't given in that town, Rabbi Elazar agrees, it's no good. The Baal Korcha Miskareshes, but she who's getting divorced, Bal Karcha, Mara Makam he likes, and then all she's doing is giving him a Mara Makam, meaning all she's doing is telling him, yeah, go to this in this town and get my get. But it's not anything that she's going to be makbid on. That's what Rabbi Eliezer holds. Obviously, the Tanakh disagrees with that. All right, next Mishnah, sort of a continuation. Now, this is talking about a wife of a kohen who asked somebody, made a shliach to go receive her get somewhere. When does she stop eating truma? Right? She's a Yisraelis, she's a Bas Yisrael, and she sent a shliach to go receive her get. Now, does she stop eating truma right then and there? What, right when she sends the shliach?
Well, she's still married, no?
Correct. So that's what the Gemara is. That's what the Mishnah says. If she says, "Bring me the get," right? This is going back to that hard daf 2 days ago. If she says, "Bring me a get," then she could eat the truma until she gets the get, till she receives the get. Eskabali giti, but if she tells the shliach to be makabel her get, then asura lecha b'truma miyad. She's also right away, right? Because how do you know that?
Even before he accepts the
divorce, if she sleeps with somebody right then, and she get chayv misa, she's fine.
No, it still has to get to the shliach's hand.
It does have to get the shliach, but we don't know if the shliach accepted it. The second the shliach leaves her sight, how do you know that he didn't meet the husband on his way? You don't know. I don't know what it would be if she was mezana. It would be a suffix, I would think. But the Gemara's point is that when she said, be makabel my get, so we have to be chayshid right when he leaves her sight, that maybe he met the husband around the corner and he already took the get. So therefore she can't have truma. Meaning, again, the first case is she said, bring me the get. The second case is talking about where she said just be makabel, so then we have to be chayshid. Right? The next case is, Hiskabali giti b'makom pliny, take my get in a certain place. Then she can eat truma until the get arrives in that place. Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Eliezer is going to say, keep saying Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer, he says it's also right away, the same way he said before, right? That we don't care what the wife says, right? It's going to be a get regardless. So therefore, she becomes also right away. Right? Fine. So Zog the Gemara, Afrek the Gemara, forget the Miyahavi. Right? Meaning in the Mishnah, we were saying that the get, it's still a get. Meaning, what was the case? She said, bring me my get. She's married to a kohen. She says, bring me my get in a certain town. So we said that it's not, she stops eating truma when the get arrives in that town.
With her hand.
Right? Machma though. What?
No, yes, in her hand. The first case, no?
No, we're going on the last case. We're going on the last case now. Right? When does she have to stop eating truma? When the get arrives in that town. Right? But it's mashma that it's still going to be a get. Yeah, meaning it's still going to be a get, but she has to stop eating the truma. But we said in the Reisha, loy havi gita, we said in the Reisha that if the get goes to the wrong town, it's not a get, meaning the Reisha, meaning the top Mishnah, right? Which gets to what we're discussing before, gets into what we're discussing before. Letzricha, meaning it sounds like it would still be a good get even if it ends up in a different town. But it's a stira, meaning that this Mishnah makes it sound like the get is going to be a good get. It's just a matter of when she has to stop eating truma. And the first Mishnah sounds like it's not a good get. So the Amrale Hiskabali Gita b'Masa Machsia, she said, Pimakama my get in Mata Machsia, that's the name of a place. Zimrin de Mishkachas Bavel, but sometimes he might be in Bavel, meaning she told the guy, go to Mata Machsia, maybe you'll find him there, ask him for my get. He said, but sometimes he's not there, so sometimes he's hanging out in Bavel. And this is what she's saying to the Shliach. Mishkal, take the get from him from wherever you are onto the base. But Gita, loyhavi ad the matis lamata machsia. But the ma'isa, the get is not going to be chal until you actually get to mata machsia.
Is that an issue of Nesina, or it's like a Tanai in the Kabbalah? that your Kabbalah of the Nesina's get won't be, it'll be like extended until you get to the next second place. Where's the Nesina when he gets to the second place?
Oh, that's Tosis Kasha. Tosis Kasha. The Akiva's mean Muhammad Tosis Kasha. Right? Meaning what they still need the Nesina. Right? We know by Gittin it's a special thing. It has to be given, right, into the wife, or it has to be given to the shliach, whichever. You don't have that here. Right? Because maybe the shlichus didn't work. Okay, yeah. Anyways, Ayin Shom and Tosis. Right, but Rabbi Lazar is at the top Tosis. Rabbi Lazar is Miyad. Rabbi Lazar says, no, who cares if she said she wants the get to be received here, there? Don't make a difference. Right when she makes the shliach to go be makabel or get, she's also to eat truma. So you want to ask Pshita. It's Pasha to Amara Makam Eloi. Right? We already said that it's Amara Makam. She doesn't care. She doesn't actually care which town she receives the get. It's just Amara Makam. The one answers like Tzricha, the Amrale Zilla Mizrach to east of Mizrach. She said, go to the east side of town because he's in the east side. Because of Lamayra, and the Shliach went to the west side of town. Mao the same of Mayriv Halesa. Right? You would think, okay, the husband's not in the west, right? So meaning he's not there. So Mamela, she should be able to eat truma because it's not the get is not going to be chav. Kamash Malon, Dilma Bahadi the Ka'azal, because maybe at the time that the shliach was leaving, Megas Goyes by he's going to meet the guy, meet the husband. Yav like Gittin, give a get. Which is very interesting, meaning even though she said he's on the west side, right? And we know that he's not on the west side. Good, but maybe maybe the shliach met him somewhere, and therefore the get was a good get, and therefore she's not allowed to eat truma. But I want to ask, if a guy says to shliach, this is just a shaila, similar shaila, but easier than Gittin, right? We know there's such a thing as erev tchumen, right? You want to go walk someplace outside of the tchum, you can make somebody a shliach and says, hey, you're putting out your mayonnaise, you got to put out a little food 2,000 amos away. So you tell him, hey, do it with this type of food and make an eruv for me. And he goes and he makes the eruv with a different type of food. Is that the same here? Meaning, again, here, he made a shliach to give the get. So he gave the get in the wrong town, right? So the Gemara wants to try and equate that with making an eruv tchum with the wrong type of food. Right, so he said, make me an eruv with dates, and he does it with groigers, dried figs, or the opposite. So Tani Chada, we have one brayse, eruv, the eruv is still a good eruv. The Maisi asked him to make an eruv. What's the difference? What type of food he used? The Tani Hidach ain't eruv. We have a different brayse that it says the eruv is not an eruv. So you have a stira. One brayse says that the eruv has to be specifically what type of food the person sending him said. And the other one says not. So one is Rabbanon, who says it has to be specific, and therefore the eruv is no good, and meaning it has to be in the same town that the husband said he's going to be in, and I'm sorry, the wife said that it should be in, and the Rebbe Lazar says he doesn't care. So the Gemara says, "Harabbanon damli kpeda." The Rabbanon, the one that said that they're makbid, right? Meaning she's makbid on which town she receives the get. Rabbi Lazar says, nah, she doesn't care. She's just telling them advice where to find them. But that's it. Rabbi Yosef Amar, it's both according to the Rabbanon. Kan b'shaloi, kan b'shal chaveiroi. One is talking about where he used the eruv with his fruit, right? So Memela, since he used, meaning the Mishaleach told him, use my tomorrow, right? And the Shliach used Groigris, right? Because he said, okay, I was giving you my fruit. You want to use your own fruit? Isn't the But the one says that the air is no good, is talking about where the person sending him to make the shlichus for the tchum use somebody else's fruit, right? So he only had permission to use that fruit. So Mamela, if he didn't use that fruit, then it's no good. Okay, so that's it's an interesting teretz also about right. Like talking about punt. One area is talking about where he used his own fruit, and the other area is talking about where he told him to use somebody else's fruit. Okay, I'm really abaya. Tanya. If a guy tells the shliach, make an error for me in this building, or what do you call it, a tower, right? Meaning there's a tower at the end of his tchum. He says, put an Erev there. The Erev loy b'shoivach, and instead he puts the Erev into a bird chicken coop or whatever it is. The shoivach, where he told him put it. What?
Yeah, shoivach is a coop. Yeah.
Coop, yeah. The shoivach, where he told him put the Erev in the shoivach, Erev like a migdal, and he put it in instead. He put it into a building. The Tanya chada eruv eruv. The Tanya yidach ein eruv eruv. Right. So Hasam, my shaloi v'shachaveri, because there's no way to do shaloi v'shachaveri, right? It's neither one belongs to him, right? Meaning he doesn't care. Again, he told him, we're trying to equate it with the case of he told his friend, take the Erev Tchum and put it in a building. And he went and put it into a coop, or the opposite. What's shaloi shachaveri? What does a guy care who's sending a guy out to make him an Erev Tchum so he can walk far on Shabbos? What does he care where the guy puts it? Right? So Gemara says, Hasam Nami, no, Ika peri the migdal or peri the shaiva. There's fruit in the migdal and there's fruit in the coop, right? So I think
what, they're different distances? What are in the same place? What's the difference?
Sounded like they have to be in the same place, right? Otherwise,
right.
It's totally
right.
Like you're right. It has to be the same place. Right, so the Elamai was what I was saying. He didn't mean to put the Erev there. Abada, he told him to put the Erev. It doesn't make a difference where he puts it. We're talking about where there was fruit in the Shaiva or fruit in the Migdal. Right, so that's what he told him to do. Right, that's what he told him to do. Yeah, fine. Okay, so then the Gemara says, "Ha'aymer kiss ha'aymer what?"
The Mishnah.
Mishnah, yes. So Ha'aymer kasu get utrula ishti. A guy says, write a get and give it to my wife. Gershua, or he said, divorce my wife. Kasu geras utrula. Write a letter and give her. Then the Adam should write the get and give it to his wife. Meaning, so there's 4 terminologies here that all work. Kisvu get utrula ishti. Gershua, kasu geras utrula. That's 3. I'm at Kisvu get the through the issue. It's 1. Gershua 2. Kisvu, I'm sorry, it's 3. Arayel Yiftavu, then write it and give it. Patrua, but if he says Patrua, Parnasua, Asula Kanimus, right? Patrua means make her potter. Parnasua means be mefarnaser. Asula Kanimus, do something do like the regular. Asula Karoi, or do what's supposed to be done, what's fitting for her. Loyama Klum, she said nothing. Meaning he said nothing. So basically, we have to know which terminologies and which are not. Our works. Yeah. So Tanarabanan, yeah. So again, there's different terminologies we can use. This is going to be the next thing in tomorrow's daf also. Tanarabanan. Shavkua, if he said, send my wife away. Shavkua, leave her. Trachua, or send her out. The lashon of gerushin. Harei elu yichtavu v'yitbu. Then they should write the get and give it to her. Patrua, Parnasua, Asula Kanimus, Asula Karai, Loyamra Klum. Then they didn't say anything. Patrua, Dvar of Kayaman. If he says the word Patrua, then they're Makayamit and they give the get to the wife. Pitrua, Loyamra Klum. They didn't say anything. Amar Rava, Rebbe Nassan the Bavla, who this is talking about Rav Nassan Allah, but Dayak paint Pitrua, Lip Patrua. So Rashi says, Pitrua is Hebrew, is Lashon Kodesh, right? Which means that there should be no more payback the guy, meaning pata the guy from paying up his debts, right? And Patrua is Aramaic, which would mean a divorce. So that's why there's a differentiation between the two, right? So sometimes people talk Aramaic, sometimes people talk Lashon Kodesh. Tanadi Dan. I'm sorry. Tanadi Dan, the Baretz Yisrael, who Loidayik. And our Tana, who was a Baratz Yisrael, meaning because he wasn't from Bavel, he wasn't Medayik. Sometimes he said it with Aramaic, sometimes he said it in the way the Aramaic says it, sometimes he says in Lashon Kodesh, right? So, and that's why in the Mishnah, when he says Patrua, means he didn't say anything. Right? I think Ramesh Feinstein has a tshuva about different havaras and all that, like which is the proper. He says even though there is a proper havara, I think he says it benegea to havara, maybe nusach or havara. He says bottom line is if it's an accepted havara that people talk like that, then it's fine. You don't have to worry. I'm pretty sure it's a tshuva Ramesh. Fine. Ibailu. Right, to you, what happens if he says take her out, azvu or leave her, hitiru?
How far does that go? Accepted. How far does that go with the
a Moshe? I don't know.
Mispronouncing things during davening in davening.
If the whole world does it, so I think I haven't seen the tshuva.
What's the thing called the var, and what's that thing? I don't know. The
Milah Yeah. That's what we're saying. Yes, exactly. That's what we're saying. That's exactly what we're saying. Right? Yeah. Okay. So again, so it's you.
Doesn't affect Ketairis. However you say Ketairis, it's good.
Always comes down to Ketairis.
That's right. Yeah. So again, it's you, Mao, Azvu, Mao, Hitiru, Mao, Hinichu, Mao, Hailula, Mao, right? Help her. Asula Kidas, do like halacha, Mao, what's the din? So we have a six Mahus. Pashad Miyachada, so let's at least say Pshana one. The Tanya, Asula Kidas, Asula, meaning do like halacha, Asula Kenimas, do like what's normal, Asula Kiroi, do what's Kiroi, Lo Yamar Klum. He said nothing. Those are all not terminologies of giving a get. Again, if he's giving her a get directly, who cares what he says? He gave her a get. We're talking about when he told this to a shliach, do this and this and this. So we have no idea what the guy meant. Since we have no idea what the guy meant, so therefore it's only accepted terminology to make her into. They make the guy be. Yeah. Okay. We'll stop over here. Ireland should have themselves a fine night.